Do you like fantasy football and sports betting? Come join us here at the Parlay Fantasy Football Podcast, where hosts Matt, Shane, and Jason talk about fantasy players, lineups, and sports.
StreamYard, you're killing me. Always putting these video intros in automatically. I always have to take them out every week, and distractions caused me to not forget to do that this week, apparently. So, yeah, thanks, Matt. But yeah, great intro. We are the Dynasty Six Pack. Hello, everyone. I'm Kyle Senra. Joining me are Rahul Natarajan and Jamie Perog. How are you guys doing?
Good. I thought you'd surprise us with a new intro, Kyle. Actually,
StreamYard set up where they set things automatically, even though every week I take it out, so it shouldn't be there every week. And then
I'm very glad to eventually.
It's not there here in the week. I set it up like on Monday, Tuesday, but it's there when I want to go and go live Wednesday. So there's my StreamYard complaint. But thanks StreamYard.
I'm glad we eventually did hear your.
They're doing a charity for us or anything. We were
glorious guitar riffs. And more excitingly, we sit here on the eve of the 2025 NFL Draft. It's honestly Christmas Eve for people like us, just finally putting huge parts of these like prospect profiles together with draft capital and landing spot. Obviously, I'm kind of outsourcing my work to the NFL this year. I'll let them tell me who's good and who fits where. But to answer your question, Cal, I'm doing great and really excited to get into tight ends and a mock draft review with both of you guys. How's it going, Jamie?
Not a mock draft, an actual draft review. This was an actual rookie draft from a league that does its draft pre-draft, so that'll be a great treat. But I gotta say, your take on tight ends is my take every year. Like I'll let draft capital aside, other than one stat, and that's basically how I've got it ranked. So I don't have much to say today, so I'll get through tight ends really quickly because everyone knows I don't care about the position. And I like to rant. So actually, if you didn't know that, now you do, because I started the episode with a rant and I talk about how I dislike tight ends. So that's why I'm in the mood. I think because we got to talk about tight ends. Jamie, you love talking about tight ends, though.
Yes,
you're enthusiastic. This is your episode.
I think last year, me and you did a tight end episode on your old podcast.
Yeah, probably because I think you like doing tight ends. So that was someone to bring the enthusiasm on the show.
But yeah, so. I'm going to guys with a little secret I have. I'm actually a cybernetic time traveling machine sent back from the future to drop elite fantasy football intel before it ever even happens. So let's get into it.
So we can expect Roshan Johnson will be the RB1 this year. Good, yes. So yeah, I guess, we can get started. And we're going to get started with tight end number 1. That is, in our aggregate rankings, but also a unanimous selection for number 1 is the tight end, Tyler Warren. Jamie, I'll let you start because your enthusiasm, you've already kind of indicated this on previous episodes. I go back to episode 2 when we talked about our top 2 tiers overall in Dynasty. I believe you had Tyler Warren ranked in the second tier of tight ends as the tight end 3 in Dynasty right now before he's even drafted.
Yeah,
assuming 24 hours from now, we're not going to be able to say that anymore. But yes, Tyler Warren, go ahead.
So, yeah, as long as he doesn't end up on the Colts, I'm going to probably put him in my top 5 in Dynasty. I think he's 4 right now for me. But Tyler Warren, this dude, he's a matchup nightmare for defenses. Like, he's that rare blend of, like, size, athleticism, and football IQ. Like, last season, Tyler Warren, he was that dude. He had 104 catches, 1,233 yards, 8 touchdowns. And he added 218 rushing yards and 4 more touchdowns on the ground. Like that's elite right there. He caught 75% of his targets, I believe, close to it, 75, and he had 34% of the aerial dominator. Like for a tight end, that's wild, man. Like I said, he's got that athleticism. He runs crisp routes. He can actually separate downfield like an actual wide receiver. His footwork is super clean. And for a big man, he moves like real smooth for a big guy. I mean, you could tell that he used to play quarterback too, because his pre-snap reads are sharp. He knows how to manipulate defenders with his routes. And in the red zone, yeah, good luck stopping him. And he like bodies up smaller defensive backs. He high points like the rock, like a power forward, like those 50-50 balls. They feel more like 80-20 in his favor. So bottom line, there's just nothing Tyler Warren doesn't do well. He's off the charts. He's got that alpha energy that like teammates, they rally around him. Like he's got the swagger, the fire, the leadership, all rolled into one player. So I love this guy.
Rahul, go ahead and share your reasoning for Tyler.
I mean, JB painted such a great picture of Tyler Warren, who is also my tight end one. You know, I don't know if I can wax lyrical like JB just did there, but you captured it so well. I mean, in short, this guy is a dog, right? And you can tell that on the field. You can tell that by people talking to him. And I think, you know, it might even be a cliche, but I think that is going to make a difference at the next level. He's going to be like the go-to guy for a team. He like exudes it on the field. To play a little bit, I guess, of devil's advocate, he still is my tight end one. Is my only concern would be like how high his like percentage of his production came from like manufactured touches. There were a lot of screens, you know, there were a lot of like short like design touches to him. Like, I mean, let alone the rush attempts, the Wildcat quarterback, right? And I guess if I only had to bring one concern is I think Tyler Warren might like, he's going to be pretty like landing spot dependent to me. Like, I'm really curious to see who the offensive coordinator he's going to play under. Like Ben Johnson at 10, honestly, would be like a dream for a guy who can be like schemed up in the way that Tyler Warren is. But if I just had to give one note of caution, and honestly why I think my tight end 2 was all of our tight end 2s, but I think the gap is maybe closer than some other people might think. And that's the only thing I want to say. Otherwise, completely agree with your assessment of Warren as a player.
I can't literally add anything because I have nothing. All I've got to go on with, the thinnest of margins that Rahul is talking about. You look at mock drafts across the board, Tyler Warren's expected to not only go in the first round, but be the first tight end taken. That's why he's my tight end 1, literally just for that reason. Number 2, our unanimous and, of course, aggregate tight end 2 is Colston Loveland, who in a lot of mocks is also mocked to go in the first round, which is why I've got those 2 alone at 1 and 2. And the literal difference is Warren seems to just go earlier in the mocks. Now,
yeah, you can switch them. And earlier in the process, I did have London as my number 1 until I started looking deeper into it.
Yeah.
And now I just did a mock yesterday, and it was a tight end premium. I had the 5th pick. I went Warren. The very next pick went Loveland.
Yeah, well, I think the mock, sorry to cut you off, Kyle, but I think the mock we did last episode had the exact same thing too, and maybe 107 and 108, something like that, where Warren and then Loveland went off the board. I really do think it is that close. Like maybe like the section of like Twitter, like the internet I've curated for myself recently has had a switch towards Loveland as actually the better prospect. Like if anything, I do think he is a better like pure receiver. Like this guy is so silky smooth down the field, like truly like a route runner. It might not be like obvious just looking at the stats. Like I don't think he topped, I want to say 600 yards in a season of 600, 700 yards, but we do have to take into account that he played in that Michigan offense, which even under JJ McCarthy and the national champions, like championship winning team, didn't really throw the ball, right? Like we're like, where are JJ McCarthy's like attempts for us to evaluate, right? And then the situation just completely went to shit in the last year. So I honestly think we can discount the production. He did suffer an injury in his last year. It's a little bit of a worry, but I really think as a pure receiver, like Loveland has a claim to be a better fit for like the average team than Tyler Warren is based on what he can do. Now, the worry with Loveland, and maybe a little less so with Warren, like I don't know if either of them can be like the true inline blocker, especially right off the gate. I think both of them, and honestly, a lot of the tight ends we're going to talk today could find themselves in like a 2 tight end kind of situation just because they're not trusted to be like on the field for like 80% of the snaps, like blocking it, like it snap in, snap out. Like Loveland could unfortunately go the way of like a Dalton Kincaid who hasn't really mastered that. Like admittedly, Kincaid is also in maybe like the offense that's most willing to spread the ball around and like a QB that takes like touchdowns and production, efficient running game. But again, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news today. Like I just want to express a little bit of caution. I think Warren and Loveland are great prospects, like late first round picks in our rookie drafts, but there are some usage concerns, I would say. Well, I'm yapping a lot today, guys. I'm excited to get into the draft. That's my take.
So for me, Loveland is close right behind Warren in my overall dynasty tight ends. Like they're both considering to be a top 5, depending on the landing spot. But yeah, go ahead.
Depending on landing spot is really key because that is I think what might differentiate if there is an order switch for me. If they both go in the first round, yet Loveland has a better quarterback, they both have equally quality quarterbacks, but Loveland is with an offensive coordinator, an offensive system that will feature the tight end, and Warren isn't. Like those could be reasons where, again, if they're both first rounders, I raise Loveland ahead of Warren. But the fact that they'll both be first rounders does, to your point, Rahul, make them safe back end of the first round picks, kind of like Dalton Kincaid was that year.
I think so. Like the strange thing about that year is Laporta ended up being, the value pick, like almost like a round later. So it'll be interesting to see.
And Jamie, what was so great about Sam Laporta's profile?
Sam Laporta.
Yeah.
The athleticism, right?
Yeah. Give me that Raz score. When I say you were talking about all the production, Rahul, I don't look at tight end production. Like I do it super for the receivers.
Right? Yeah.
It's just so this year's class is so all over the board. Look at Colston Loveland compared to Harold Fannin with production. And yet Loveland we're being talked about as the first rounder and Fannin has fallen. So part of that might be Raz. The problem I have is that none of these guys that we're going to talk about, other than 2 today, actually participated at the combine. So we actually don't have Raz scores. And that makes me hesitant to call Loveland a first rounder, even though I have Warren as a back end first rounder right now in Superflex. I think he's my rookie number 10, whereas Loveland is like 14. So just early second to me. I want some Raz. They didn't give it to me. So,
but you do watch enough tape where you can kind of gauge what kind of player they are. Like Loveland, dude, like that dude, he moves like a power forward, and he does have that basketball background. Like he's freaky athletic for a tight end.
To me, like, power forward's a hockey player, but that I guess totally different. But I feel like they both are similar styles: a basketball power forward to a hockey power forward.
Yeah, Loveland plays pretty much like a oversized wide receiver. Like he averaged that 12.5 yards per catch, which is impressive considering how rough that Michigan offense was that Rahul mentioned. Like the dude can catch. Like he's got natural hands, and like his catch radius is pretty massive if you look at the tape.
Yeah. Sorry, Jim, I didn't hear anything you said because I'm just trying to think. How could a football player get a Gordie Howe hat trick? Because my brain is just full hockey mode now, apparently. I would imagine you'd have to throw a touchdown, run one in, and then get into a fight. And then you get a Gordie Howe hat trick.
Well, I mean, the dude's he is a awesome route runner, like straight up nasty. Like he cooks linebackers with those like sharp breaks and timing. So
so power forward basketball. Yeah. Not the hockey part. I mean, part of the hockey part, but just maybe the speed. Just don't fight anyone and get ejected.
Yeah, like he boxes out the defenders and goes up and grabs the ball like he's pulling down a rebound in traffic. So impressive, man. Like, and even as a vertical threat, like the dude can fly. Like he builds up speed as he goes, and like after the catch, he's got that dog in him. He runs angry. He breaks tackles, makes guys miss in the open field. Like, I don't know, man. Bottom line is, it depends on where he goes, but I can see this guy being a force to be reckoned with, man.
I think both of them look great, but Kyle's point is I think Kyle, you make a very valid point because tight end is one of those positions that's highly dependent, like highly projectable based on athleticism. I remember last year there was like a whole thing about Brock Bowers who came, like remember there's like a picture of him standing next to Gronk. He looked tiny, then didn't do like some of the combine stuff, or I can't remember even like weighed in, but that was like people were like, okay, like Bowers is he really that dude? If like we can definitively tell he's an elite athlete. Turned out Bowers was that dude. Now I'm not saying Ward or Loveland are, Brock Bowers, but they look good. Like we just won't know until the NFL gives us a little more information.
Yeah, and you can't just go off of athleticism alone because look at what's his name, Jelani Woods. Look at Greg Dulcich. Like, where are they now? Yeah. Like, they're not even on rosters on Dynasty. And then
the most athletic. I mean, they're on NFL rosters, but yeah, you're right.
But, Greg Dulcich may be on a roster of mine.
I'm pretty sure this we're reviewing later with the rookie draft going to be talked about later. I'm fairly certain I have Greg Dulcich on that team.
Yeah, I do too. But I think he's only like 15% owned, if I remember correctly, recently. But even the most athletic tight end of all time, Zach Kuntz. Like, where's he now?
Wow. And that's why the capital matters so much, right? Because I'm not putting my Raz freak tight end as the tight end one in rookie rankings. I still respect the fact that Warren and Loveland are going to get first round capital. Because you see what happened to Zach Kuntz. He was a 7th rounder? It was 6 or 7. Yeah, and he went to the Jets.
It was a 7th, or he might have even been undrafted, but it was.
I'm pretty sure he was drafted, but I think it was the 7th round. And he went to the Jets, which has been the wasteland of all wastelands for tight ends. Like, that is just a system where for the past decade, like longer, as long as I've been playing fantasy football, the Jets tight end has been awful, other than Chris Herndon's rookie season. And honestly, what we got the last couple of years from Ty Conklin, that's like leaps and bounds ahead of what you usually get of a Jets tight end. So, like, Kuntz instantly went from, man, he could be the tight end one of the class to off the board entirely when he went to the Jets in the 7th. So,
Kuntz, I don't know. I love the guy coming out. I even have some team names named after him, but I pronounce his last name differently. If you know what I'm dropping. So,
well, let's cut this section out and we will.
No, we need to timestamp this section for sure.
I mean, to be fair, every section's going to be timestamped. Colston Loveland slash. Are we going to have a Zach Kuntz timestamp? We're really going to do that this year?
No, let's skip that. So let's move on. Who is our tight end 3? Or
this is where the rankings get interesting because now nothing's unanimous anymore.
Yeah,
but
to me there is a big drop off.
Oh yeah, and it feels like for the NFL too. Again, like these two guys, Warren Loveland getting the first round capital, but no one else seems to be. So yeah, for me, big teardrop. We're gonna start with our aggregate number 3, and that is Mason Taylor. So Rahul, you have him at number 3. Jamie, you've got him ranked at tight end 4, and I've got him as the rookie tight end 5.
I kind of have him at 3/4, if that makes sense.
You know what? I kind of have him at 5/6 for the same reason we don't have Raz. He's another guy who didn't have a combine, so I don't know how to distinguish him. It's simply going off draft. So the guy, okay. So I'll wait on that. We'll reveal who our aggregate 4 is, and who's Jamie's debating 3 and 4 between. But Rahul, you are the highest on Mason Taylor, so you get the honors. Why is he your tight end 3?
Yeah, I think another really smooth player. He almost seems very similar to me to Loveland, certainly a not as good version, but I think there's just a lot to like about what Mason Taylor does, what he excelled at in college. I can definitely see him be a target earner for an NFL franchise based on his ability to, get first downs. Like, I think he could be a reliable chain mover, and he showed some juice, like, going down the field. What I also like, it's not like a Warren type dog, but I really like the intangibles of being able to come in and start at LSU as a freshman, and improve year on year. And this year, especially, again, he hit like 580 yards. So I'm not talking about some phenomenal history of production, but the year after Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. left, I like that Mason Taylor is able to take another step up. This also applies to Loveland, as it does Taylor, but both of them are, just turning 21. Tyler Warren's a little bit older at 23, which, how much does that matter? I don't know, but I think Taylor just showed a lot at a young age to where I do think he can come in and be a productive tight end in the NFL. I just really like the way he moves in a similar way to Loveland, though, not just as electric.
To me, it's funny how the process started where he wasn't really being like right now. If you look at a lot of mock drafts, the consensus is he will be the third tight end.
Yeah, right.
Off the board. And that's the expectation. Doesn't mean that will come true, but it didn't start like that. And it seems like he's really risen in the process, and that's what's kind of put him for me just that one spot ahead in my rankings. But Jamie, I mean, you're debating as well, but
Yeah.
tight end 3 / tight end 4 Mason Taylor.
Yeah, I was always pretty high on him. He was always in my top 5 this whole process. Dude, Mason Taylor's got football royalty in his veins. He's the son of Hall of Famer Jason Taylor, and he is the nephew-in-law of Zach Thomas. So like on that pedigree alone shows like, he's gonna step up on that field. Like he's smooth, athletic. We love our athletic tight ends. He moves like a wideout. Consistently finds space in that intermediate field. I don't. His hands are pretty solid. He extends away from the frame, and he tracks it very, very well. So he makes like those tough grabs look very easy, and I don't know, man. He's still growing, even as a blocker. Like that's how to get him on the field for 3 downs. Like he's got the willingness to block, and he's got the frame to do it. So I think if you give him time, he'll be like he'll lock up those defenders, and it's gonna make him look like he's been doing it for decades. Honestly, like he's got that football IQ, and like that clearly shows from his family perspective. And honestly, like Mason Taylor, like is gonna be a sleeper. Like the NFL bloodline and like that upside that he has is gonna show. So don't be shocked when we're sitting here on a Sundays and he's gonna be making some noise, like making us pay attention to him.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I agree.
My joke was I thought I heard noise.
I agree with exactly what you said, but also, yeah, we do need to like let these guys have some time, like to develop into being productive NFL players. Like certainly as blockers, certainly as like players that can be on the field like 80% of the game at least. But I think we've also been a little spoiled by these like first and second year like massive breakouts from tight ends of late, and it's not going to be like that. Like,
it used to be so rare. Like an Evan Ingram would come like once in a decade, essentially. And
yeah,
I remember Njoku was highly touted coming out. It took him some years.
What was he like a 5th-year breakout, 6th-year breakout? And now he's solid. Like now he's constantly earning targets every year.
I love him. He's one of my favorite players to watch in the league.
Keith Burke showing up saying, "Good evening, gentlemen. Would you guys trade Darnold for the 204 and 307? There's great videos." I don't think I have anything else to say about Mason Taylor, so we'll answer this and we can get to our next player. Darnold for the. I guess the first question, Keith, is this a super flex league?
Right.
It's got to be super flex. This is one of my.
I'd imagine
buddies.
if it's not a super flex, you're not considering giving up 2 picks for Darnold.
Well, it looks like he's trading away Darnold
Yeah.
for the 204 and 307.
I would say,
from
the buying perspective, if you need a quarterback, that seems like if you want to get better quarterbacks than Darnold, you're going to have to pay more than that. Right? So this feels. Should Darnold be worth the first? I guess maybe that's
Darnold's not worth the first. He's outside my top 24. You can get like a Jackson Dart at the 204, and he alone is worth more than Darnold if he works out.
Well, I think if he goes,
if he works out.
Yeah, if he works out. But the
if he doesn't go in the first round, I think I'd rather have Darnold.
Well, you got to remember, I'm a cybernetic robot sent from the future, and
he knows what's happening.
Terminate the Sam Darnold hype.
Jackson Dart is the QB1 in this class. We already know this, guys.
I'm with you as long as and then yeah, context of quarterbacks saying already has Jordan Love, Dak Prescott, Bryce Young. I mean, and I would also rank it like this too. Like Sam Darnold is your QB4. You probably can't get a first for him. So an early second plus another pick. I think I'd probably rather get the 204 and a 26 third. Give me something I could use in season. But that's nitpicking. Like I'll take the 307 and you could probably just sell the 307 for a future third when the pick's on the clock anyway. So, same. It's a moot point essentially. So I think this is a fine price for Darnold.
Yeah, I mean, I would give Darnold up just for the 204 alone, honestly.
Yeah, I honestly think I'm higher on Darnold than both of you guys are. But I do think it's close. It's probably a fine get out of Darnold price. There are a lot of people who are really low on Darnold working out on the Seahawks, which I don't think is unfair. I feel like a little bit slim for starting quarterback who, well, don't you guys think this is a draft or trade that can at least wait till after the draft? I think we could get a lot more information.
I think if someone's willing to give you these picks now, definitely do it. But yeah, for sure, if you're the other manager, you need a quarterback at this point. If you've waited this long, wait to see. Like Jamie said, you might be able to get Jackson Dart at 204. I mean, if not, right? This could just be a league where the quarterbacks are so valued highly that this is the best option you can get a quarterback with at 204.
I'm pretty sure Keith is a Seahawks fan because I know on Sleeper that's his handle, like Seahawks fan or something. So give it up, Darnold.
But I guess maybe this is the time to do it, right? You haven't seen him in a Seahawks jersey yet, so you don't have that emotional attachment to the visible, got a tangible thing to it. You see, Jamie, you can't kill Jamie. You can't terminate him at all, no matter how many questions you ask him, Keith. So you can, you think you're killing Jamie with all your questions.
Keep them coming, man. I love questions.
Now, I guess I want to ask a question to Rahul. Would you, in this context, if you're the person that Keith would be dealing with, would you and you said you're higher than Darnold than us, are you willing to give up a first for Darnold if you need a quarterback?
It's probably right, the 112, 201. And that's also I guess to answer the question, I'd be fine selling Darnold because you could probably finesse your way with the 204 and 307 to what the 201, 202. You could probably do it. So I guess it's fine.
I mean, if you need to fill another position, and you're not, because I think that Keith's whole thing is not thinking quarterback, doesn't have to pigeonhole into picking a quarterback. So the 204 could be anything. You also just trade those away for other players that you might not have been able to get. If you were trying to sell Sam Darnold for those players, you might not have got. But I don't want Darnold. But someone sees those picks, that could be anything. Then they're willing to give up those players. So it still doesn't pigeonhole you into meaning you have to take these rookies either. You could still trade both of these picks by the time the draft comes. So.
Yeah, now Keith, keep coming back, man. We're live every Wednesday. 9:30.
Yeah, I didn't do all. I was still thrown off by the intro. I didn't do any of the sponsor stuff. Yeah, but here we are in the Fantasy Six Pack Network, YouTube, Facebook. So yeah, come subscribe, give a thumbs up, comment, like the video, and of course, anyone listening to the audio, do the same. Subscribe to wherever your podcast platforms are. Right? I mean, halfway through the rookie lists. Now we get to number 4. So we're at Elijah Arroyo. So I guess Jamie, your rankings are tied, but you had to put someone somewhere. So you have Elijah Arroyo at 3. Rahul, you have him at 4. So again, you two are just flip-flop between the two. And I've got
3 and then 6. 4 for me, not 3/4. I'd like to.
Okay, so the very clear difference. So you're a little more convicted on Taylor ahead of Arroyo. I mean, Jamie.
I like that too. I mean, I could easily do the same.
Well, so by putting Arroyo at 3rd, give the argument of why. Why is he?
Well, because
you
got to look at his game. He's he's straight up smooth with a side of dog in him, right? So,
are there 9 tight ends that have dog in them in this class? It's the K9 tight end class, or something?
Yeah, So I mean, this dude got that dog in him, man. Like if we get points per dog, like I would take Arroyo around ahead
You
of everyone
gotta
else.
maybe we gotta terminate that expression. Call everyone a dog, even though they're humans. But okay.
But dude, like he's a route artist. Like he sets up defenders, leaving safeties guessing like where he's going. His hands are pure. He high points in traffic. He makes it look easy, and like don't sleep on his wheels either. Like he like turns up and he like hits that seam, and he puts pressure on like the deep coverage. Like and in the red zone, he's gonna be a mismatch. Like he's got that big frame, like wide catch radius, and the instincts to win those one-on-one battles. It's there. Like after the catch, like he's not cute with it. Like he drags defenders. He gets those dirty yards. He doesn't dance around like looking to get on Dancing with the Stars. No, he's not looking for those angles. He's straight, like a straight shooter, dude. Like fighting forward for those yards, and his durability.
I like athleticism. Sorry, Jamie.
Sorry. One more thing. I do want to say this is kind of why I want to put him behind Mason Taylor, is because that like durability is a real question. Back-to-back seasons, I believe he had like something with his left knee, like left knee problems. So just be cautious when it comes to like the reliability and availability as a professional in the NFL.
And I wonder if teams are kind of knocking him for that too, because again, I actually had Arroyo ahead of Taylor in my rankings early because a lot of the mock drafts were pegging Arroyo as the third tight end to go, but now it's flipped to being Taylor, and Arroyo seemed to have fallen. So I wonder if that's teams' medicals or just that hesitation. But the whole thing I was going to say about athleticism, it's yards after the catch, right? Because you search for targets, but this far out, without knowing what team they're going to be on, or even like season to season, we don't really know like where the targets are going to lie. So when it comes to evaluating these rookies, I'm always just looking at on the same number of targets, who could do more after the catch, who could gain more yards, who could be more efficient. It's typically those Raz freak tight ends. So that's just my whole point. In theory, the way you talk about Arroyo being a straight shooter, more easy to gain yards after the catch if you're not trying to dance around, like you said. You just straight line, gain as many yards as possible. In theory, that's the kind of technique you like to see from tight ends. As much as I always talk about the relative athletic score and the athleticism to lead to yards after the catch, there is a technical component too. So that is a good point. Rahul, anything you want to add about Arroyo?
No, I mean, I think both of you guys hit the nail on the head there, and let's let the NFL tell us on this one. I mean, if he goes like day two, then I feel like teams are feeling pretty okay about the medical testing and like what he could bring to their offense. I think it's also important to note he had a lot of his snaps out of the slot. So again, want to like understand what kind of system he's going to be going into. But I think as a prospect, you guys got it right. Another one who might struggle a little bit with blocking off the cuff.
So it's funny. We all had three different tight ends as the tight end 3, and this is my tight end 3. Our aggregate number 5, Terrance Ferguson.
Love this guy. Yes.
I love his RAS score. We got one. We got a combine participant, and his RAS score ended up being like 9. We gotta have it at 932. And yeah, no, he froze on us.
He was so excited about Ferguson.
Luckily, it froze like right at the end of his sentence, so like it almost like it seemed very natural. But yes, that's all I've got on Ferguson.
Okay, so
he's a Raz freak, and there aren't any other ones. Like, and to be fair, Jamie, a 932 is maybe not as much. Not like we saw that Kincaid Laporta year, right? Like that year, the Raz guys like Tucker Kraft, Laporta, those were like 9.7s, and we had like 5 or 6 of those guys. Don't quite have it this year. Got a couple guys in like the 9.3 range, and yeah, Ferguson the 9.32. I think there's a couple guys higher than him, but it's also people that like aren't expected to be drafted. They're just athletes. They're not really good football players. So he is probably the best combination of both. Being a good football player, but also enough of a Raz freak relative to this class. So that's enough for me to have him at tight end 3. I think he's starting to get more hype as the draft process goes along too. And recently on Mock Draft Database, he's gotten into the top 100 on the consensus big board. So shot at being a day 2 pick. And I think if he's on day 2 alongside Taylor and Arroyo, I'm probably sticking to him as my tight end 3. If he falls to day 4, then that might change. There's enough of a disparity, then probably going to default to the guys going higher, which are expected to be Taylor and Arroyo. To your guys' credit for having them that high. But again, let the NFL prove me wrong, right? Like until they do, give me Terrance Ferguson as the tight end 3.
Yeah, I have a feeling people are sleeping on this guy, and I think I'm going to have a lot of him in fantasy football. Like the dude, he is built just like you want a tight end to be. Like he's tall, he's lean, he's athletic with long arms, and he helps him grab those tough passes. And he gets off the line like really fast, and he uses those big strides just to like zoom right past defenders. Like he turns, he runs clean routes. He can go deep, shakes the coverage. Like what else you want? Like even when the ball isn't perfect, like he can twist and turn and make the catch. Like, and his hands are like super reliable. Like in the red zone, like he's gonna be a problem. Like he uses his size to like box out guys, and he just goes up and grabs the ball. And he's also not afraid to block.
So it'll get him on the field. Like teams will.
He's actually got like good form. Like in the blocking schemes, he got like good form, and he puts in the effort. That's gonna help him get on the field. Like you could line him up anywhere, even like in line, in the slot, even out wide. He's to me, he is a total chess piece that you can use. He's like the queen.
I love chess. That made me really excited, Jamie, that you made a chess reference. But I got so excited about he's my tight end 3. I forgot to also mention he's Jamie's tight end 5. Rahul, your tight end 6.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, as both of you have mentioned, 3 to 6 I think is a pretty big tier. Honestly, I was seeing a little more of concerns with his like playing beneath his size and especially his ability to run block and kind of getting bullied at that aspect of the game. That was more the worry that I had. Like the others are like average blockers might need some time. That's the only reason I have him at 6. I'm willing to.
They love saying that too, right? Like you'll see scouts say, like he's a willing blocker. He at least tries. He's not very good at it, but he at least tries.
Yeah, I saw a lot of that, and like the others, it's like some technique concerns. But this is the first one, Ferguson, that I saw like can be a liability as a run blocker. So I need to know a little bit more really before I can make a full judgment.
You'd have to go to a team like he might be the offensive system might be more important than the quarterback. Like you've got to go to an offensive system that isn't going to ask you to block a ton, because if you do, then he might struggle to get on the field. But if it's the system is designed for the tight end to run routes anyway, they're going to be less concerned. And maybe the team that's going to draft him is going to think the block will overlook the blocking. It's not a big concern of us because we're not going to ask him to do it. A team that's like really run heavy probably isn't drafting Ferguson anyway, so you hope that it kind of gets out in the wash there.
What if he goes?
The NFL teams make bad decisions all the time. So sorry, Jamie.
Speaking of bad decisions and teams, what if he goes to Dallas? You're gonna have 2 Fergusons on the same goddamn team. How confusing is that going to be?
I mean, I feel like he's a way better athlete than Jake. He is
100%. It's just annoying thinking of that.
That would not be a great landing spot. I think he's trapped because I'm pretty sure Schoonmaker has a higher RAS score, so he's probably trapped behind Ferguson and behind Schoonmaker, to be honest. So Jake Ferguson. So no, the Dallas would be a horrible landing spot. Thanks for ruining that, Jamie. I don't like tight ends anyway. Who do I care about my tight end 3? Guess we'll move on to my tight end 4. Rahul's tight end 5. Jamie, your tight end 6. And that's Harold Fannin. I guess I'm the highest on him, so I'll start. His RAS is 7.77. He's got one, which is good because everyone else is a 0 because we don't have one. And I've had such a hard time with these spots, 4, 5, 6 for me, because Taylor and Arroyo expect to get better draft capital. It does still seem like Fannin's probably going to be one of the first 6 tight ends to go. I mean, there's a reason all three of us have these 6 ranked as our top 6. It seems like the NFL has it ranked that way too. He's earlier when I talked about like Loveland not really being a great producer, but going in the first round. Jamie, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't Harold Fannin lead all pass catchers in receiving yards last year?
Not sure. I know he only had 2 drops on 171 targets.
71 targets. I mean, with that kind of targets.
171 targets. Only 2 drops.
That's a lot of targets.
That's impressive right there.
In a college football season where you only play 12 games. So, I mean, the production's there, and it seems like teams are going to favor that enough. I look at the production a little less favorably, which is why he's 4 for me right now, but I could definitely lower him to 6 like you do, Jamie. But Rahul, while we have you, what do you think about Harold Fannin?
Oh man, I'm very nervous about these Wi-Fi issues again. But while I'm here, early on in the season, like September, October, I was seeing some egregious rankings of Harold Fannin in people's big boards, and at the end of the combine pulled up, and unfortunately, whereas we don't have any athletic testing for some of these guys, Fannin tested and came out as a terrible athlete, which is not good at the tight end position. I think
he's not Gunnar Helm. Like Gunnar Helm had a 4 something. Like that was just off the board.
I think it was I want to say a 6. The biggest thing was he was both undersized and not fast, and that's really tough at the tight end position. I think he also is really stiff. I think it's gonna limit his ability to run a lot of fantasy friendly routes, just in breakers, out breakers. I just don't know if he has the body type to do it. But he is clearly a good receiver, that can make an impact. I just be really worried about him being a full-time player on any offense. He'd have to be better than the team's slot receiver, and even maybe a team that doesn't have anyone besides one alpha wide receiver to really get a look at him, I think. And every year I'd be worried his production's gonna be sapped away by someone else. So, if he on Finn.
I'm thinking Chiga Okonkwo, undersized, not as fast, and
yes,
he survives because there aren't a lot of options on the Titans, and he's gonna maybe have another good season with Cam Ward coming in, probably better than Will Levis. And right now there's still it's Calvin Ridley and
Treylon Burks.
Treylon Burks, so Okonkwo is going to get his targets that way, and so maybe that's the type of situation Fannin's looking to be.
Unfortunately, I've been derogatorily using Okonkwo as a comparison for Fannin for since the combine, and then just
hey, he's a professional tight end he's getting. I think last year he had a 14-15% target share, and he's kind of done that consistently 2-3 years. So he's got a roll. Yeah, it's tough to do that. And even if you get Okonkwo, I mean, and we're not talking about first round rookie picks anymore. We really haven't talked about draft ranges. Guys, which I guess maybe we'll see in this rookie draft review what people in actual drafts are thinking right now. At least one actual draft before the NFL draft. But if you get Okonkwo level production, you're probably not totally upset if you don't spend spending a 3rd or 4th round pick.
Yeah, to me, I think Fannin, he could carve out a decent role in the right offense. The dude is a route running assassin. His footwork so sharp, it slices through man coverage and stuns the zone defenders. He's not just getting open; he actually stays open. He lives in the open field. In his hands, like we said earlier, 171 targets, only 2 drops. That's stickier than Velcro. Surgical precision level right there.
Maybe that's what got all those catches. No, I'm just kidding. No. I'm not.
Maybe. I think I see him adjusting to those off-target throws very well. But the real juice, it comes after the catch for this guy. The man runs like a tailback. He has 873 yards after the catch, 34 broken tackles, and that's not just a tight end like that. That's an actual weapon with those numbers. Like, line him up anywhere, like in line, in the slot, outside, in the backfield. Doesn't matter. Like, he's a matchup nightmare.
Heck, he can get the Gordie Howe hat trick.
Exactly. Like, he finds space. He moves the chains. He had 74 first downs last year. He brings that big play heat with he had 26 gains of 20 plus yards. That's impressive. Like, this is the kind of tight end you could build around in the right offense. Like, not just a playmaker, but like a problem that like defenses have to consider every single snap.
As big a problem as Rahul's having with his Wi-Fi as he keeps out.
Oh, so that rounds out our top 6. I do want to give an honorable mention to.
Yeah, I even have a scroller this time for it because we only had 6 players.
Okay. Honorable mention. I want to give up Aronde Gadsden. I don't know how to pronounce that. Gadsden.
I thought it was Gadsden.
I don't know. Yeah.
Aronde Gadsden. Is how
Gadsden.
I think
this just that S and D together kind of throws me off. And then Gunnar Helm. These guys are going to be late in rookie drafts, and you'll be able to stash them on your taxi squad, just like I did with Theo Johnson last year. And look at him now. So,
well, now it's not good. He's got a torn ACL, but I mean, he was kind of productive last year. Like, there were flashes. For what you were paying, the 3rd round pick, I definitely did, drafted him as well. He's a Canadian.
No, I was getting him off.
I couldn't resist taking the Canadian tight end, Jamie.
Yeah, no, Theo Johnson, I was getting him like late 4th, even off waiver wires, and just throwing them on my taxi squad. And I could see like a guy like Helm and Gadsden be that kind of tight end that you could just, wait and see what happens.
Yeah, well, I was gonna wait and see if I was gonna say something, but I guess
I have no other tight ends. I do have a different. I'm trying a new thing with the videos. Let's see if it works. But I have no other tight ends to discuss.
Okay,
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I had one more to name, and it was another Raz guy. I already mentioned it. It's another 9. I think it was 928 on the Raz. It's Jalen Connors. Now, the reason I don't have him ranked in the top 6 is because, unlike Ferguson, looks like Connors is expected to very clearly be a day 3 pick, whereas Ferguson's giving the potential to maybe be taken on day 2. So it's just the difference. If Connors is kind of getting the type of like draft type that Ferguson's getting right now, I probably am putting him at tight end 4. Just that Raz. That's all I got. That's all I have at tight end. So I'll mention that.
I've never heard of.
I'm not sure.
Never heard of the guy. What's his name? Connors.
Jalen Connors.
Jalen Connors. I thought you were going to say that.
So
Luke Lasky.
It's Connors. It's Connors with a Y. Conyers, which is a cool way to spell
Connors with a Y.
Yeah, this is not John Connors at all, or Sarah Connors. Like, this is no relation to them whatsoever.
Interesting. Another guy, Luke Lasky. He could be someone.
Pretty sure it's Lachey.
I
think like Nick Lachey.
Go with the Iowa tight end. If all else fails, like they pump him out, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that does it for the rookie tight ends, and now we're going to get to something else. So I will share this screen, and we're going to talk about a rookie draft that occurred in the Dynasty Trades in 5 listener league, the OG listener league to be exact. Just got to shout that out. We'll say this league was interesting because it almost folded this year. We had a mass exodus of 6 people leave, and we only had, so there's only 8 of us. It's a 14-team league, and ultimately we ended up having 6 people join. I mean, Clay hosting the Dynasty Trades in 5 show, you can use that as a vehicle to get people to join and take over Orphan. So a lot of new blood, new managers. So they had a dispersal draft with the remaining assets. So it was a lot of activity that occurred during the draft. 10 different trades, which we'll get to eventually. But yeah, as I guess. Ooh, I can actually look at StreamYard without it messing up. That's amazing. I'm sorry I insulted you, StreamYard. I've learned the error of my ways. But yeah, we'll talk through this draft, and I guess no surprise right off the top. So, 14-team league, Superflex, tight end premium 1.75, start 11 as well. So deep enough rosters. Ashton Genty's the 101 in almost every format. I would say the formats where we're likely to see him fall would be the deeper Superflex formats. A 16-team league, and the team at 101 is so desperate for a quarterback they just have to take Cam Ward. That's like the one scenario, I think. But even then, like I don't see Shador or anyone else right now being hyped enough to be considered taking over Genty. So no surprise with Genty at 1. I assume we can move on. But if you want to talk to Ashton Genty, we haven't talked about him in a few episodes. So I understand.
I love Ashton Genty. If you guys haven't, you should read his Players Tribune article. It's a classic, a letter to an NFL GM, but I really enjoyed it. This guy's good. He could be very good at the NFL.
Oh, I think I heard of this. Like he's saying, like I'll do basically I'll be Saquon Barkley.
Exactly. He starts off talking about Saquon, like that he could be Saquon Barkley, and then he ends it as being like, it's a game that you're trying to tackle the other side. So why don't you get the guy who's best at breaking tackles, something like that. So,
I'm sorry I spoiled the ending, folks.
Oh, yeah, shit.
Well, that's funny that you said that.
Read the Tribune. Read Players Tribune. It's great to see players write stuff for themselves. It's actually pretty awesome.
I don't know if you remember our running back show. I actually said, in the last decade, we had players like Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott, Bijan, and now we have Ashton Genty. He joins that elite crew, so I like that.
Cam Ward going at second, which makes sense again. Superflex, 14-team Superflex.
14-team Superflex. Oh, he could have been the 101. He could have been the 101.
Man, I would have took Dart at the 102 over Cam Ward for.
Oh,
you can probably trade down. We'll see where he goes in the draft. I mean, you can see it on the board right now. I'm watching on the screen.
I'm not a fan because he's going to need to score at least 35 to 40 touchdowns to be, fantasy relevant. At a 1.75 tight end premium, I'm taking Tyler Warren right there.
Which is the guy that goes at 103. And that's where I really wanted to start the discussion. I figured Jamie would think, that's great for Warren. So thank you, Jamie, for getting that out of the way. Rahul, you think 103 is reasonable for Warren in this format?
Yes, but I just want to say about Cam Ward is I do think he has the capability to add a little bit on the ground. Like you see in any given season, the likes of Herbert, Burrow, even Mahomes more and more of the years add just 300, 400 yards a year, which is at the very least 30 yards a game. I do think he has the athleticism to do that, and we didn't see it in college for sure. The rushing production wasn't there in college, but I think he could be a little mobile. I jokingly have become a Cam Ward fan account, but I actually also am a big fan of Cam Ward's game, and I'm very excited to see him. I think 102 is completely fine, as is 103 for Tyler Warren. Now, the worry that I brought up on the show just earlier is Tyler Warren could be very scheme dependent, and for a draft like this where you don't have that information, that is a little nerve-wracking at 103. But I really can't argue with too much with given the premium in this league.
Risk of the pre-draft, right? The pre-rookie drafts before the NFL draft. It's gotta love it for this league. So just looking at the next couple of picks, we've got Tetro McMillan as the wide receiver 1 in this class at the 104, and then Amari Hampton goes 105, followed by the second quarterback Shador Sanders at 106. And remember that 106 for later. But yeah, reactions to, I guess, Tet has the wide receiver 1, and then Hampton. I imagine the way we've been talking about Hampton's going seemingly so late at 105.
Yeah, I mean that seems the way I would do it. Except I don't like that 106 Sanders pick. I think he's going to be a bust. Not necessarily a bust. But I think he'll be a decent backup in the league. Better than Kenny Pickett. But I don't know. I don't want anything to do with Sanders.
Hey, don't bad talk Kenny Pickett, Jamie. That could be your
at that
Cleveland Browns
price.
starter this year. I guess that's why you're
Yeah, I
gonna
mean,
bad talk him.
Super Bowl champion Kenny Pickett. Yay.
Oh, just like David Carr is a Super Bowl champion.
This is a tough format pre-draft to take Sanders at 106. That could instantly be just like a wasted pick.
Yeah.
You know, and I understand the need for quarterbacks. And damn, sorry guys, I'm looking at this on my phone, so I can't even see like if did that team have another pick coming up soon? Like, let me look at this on the computer.
I don't know. No.
Does this help if you
Rosen? Oh, nice call. Rosen 17. I'm just wondering if there's another opportunity to take, Dart, Milrow, instead of going for Sanders.
Here they had the 203 as well.
Well, I was gonna say I would rather have the next 8 guys off the board.
Yeah. So Milrow. Sorry to cut you off, Jay. And Milrow was available at the 203.
Yeah.
And that would be in hindsight, right? The pick of Sanders is already made. It's just like a really.
You switch it for Henderson and Milrow versus Sanders, and in this case, Scadaboo, right?
Like,
so he actually picked 3 bust, and that's goddamn.
Well,
Scadaboo.
I mean, his third pick was 405, so if that's a bust, you're not really that concerned.
Well,
it's those 2.
I'm saying Isaiah Bond, Scadaboo, and Sanders.
Yeah, but
those
I
are
think
all
Bond's
busts.
405, right? If you're 405 busts, like that's not what's going to sink you. It is the first 2 picks, to your point.
No, I think you're talking about Golden taking at 202. Is that what you're talking about, Jamie?
No. I would have took Golden over Scadaboo and Sanders. Like, so Sanders would have went where Scadaboo went. In my eyes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But to be fair, though, like right now, it doesn't seem like Sanders is going to fall out of the first round until we see the NFL draft. If he really falls, that's when we'll start to see it.
And I guess though, why I just don't like the strategy behind the pick, because like even in say the very best case scenario for Sanders, like pre-draft, right, is he goes 103 to the New York Giants, right? 106 is probably still like the value that you take him. So like you really need like the very best case outcome for Sanders in the NFL draft to like justify like a 106 value. So I just really don't like the move. And I feel like I was like relatively the high guy on Sanders amongst the 3 of us. Like I do think his accuracy is a great trait, and people are overhating him a little bit, but I'm not a big fan of the pick there.
And I mean, you look at Rosen's quarterback room: Josh Allen, Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford. You've got your 2. Really does seem like, okay, yeah, you probably want that 3rd.
Yeah,
but Stafford and Cousins as well, but like you got 2 older ones. So
I kind of like that Dylan Gabriel pick.
Well, if they take
better than that Sanders pick.
Well, yeah, if you're gonna take the shot early, may as well take a shot late too. So I like kind of hedging the bets there a little bit and giving multiple outs to maybe get a quarterback. Now, I want to just touch on the next few picks. Let's go right through. Really could do the whole second half of the first round, but 107, Travion Henderson. Then the tight end, Colston Loveland, goes 108. So 5 picks apart from Warren. Not too bad there. Travis Hunter goes at 109. And I think we all wondered where that was going to be. Quinshawn Judkins at the 110. Caleb Johnson at the 111. So we've got those 5 running backs. I think the 5 most people expect it to be all in the first round, all within the first 12 picks as well. So it would have still been first rounders even in a 12-team league. We get Emeka Egbuka at 112, and then Luther Burton 113, and then may as well mention Trey Harris at the 114. I wanted to at least run through 113 for a variety of reasons, but what do you guys think of the picks? Or talk about some trades that were made in this area. Unless you want to talk about the trades first.
Yeah, the picks seem fine to me. That's kind of how I would run it. Maybe a few different, maybe Egbuka over Caleb.
Well, you know me, I'm a Caleb Johnson hater. I don't think he belongs in the first round. So,
yeah, like I even said, beginning of the second, that's where I would take him.
Yeah, I don't see anything like that makes me like pause, and I just think like that Travis Hunter value is just phenomenal. Like 109, right? Like even with the format, 2 tight ends and Sanders went ahead, but like I think think at this point it's almost like all but certain. I feel like at 2 to a team that has openly like said they're going to use him as a wide receiver. I feel even way better about Hunter than when we did our wide receiver episode. So pretty good.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting that way too. And maybe not so strange to see that Travis Hunter was actually someone traded for that pick at 109. But before then,
Yeah.
the 107, someone traded up to get Travion Henderson. They gave up the 110 and the 213. And the 110 ended up being Quinshon Judkins. That's hilarious that they traded essentially one Ohio State running back for the other.
Yeah.
And Hail Manor as well.
We could get the landing spots, and it seems like a massive win for one or the other side, right? It's just hard to say, but PPR,
Henderson gets first round capital. Okay, that kind of pushes it. Okay, they both go in the second round, and Judkins is in a better spot and a better offense.
Exactly. I think it's fair enough. Like, get your guy. Like I did have Judkins ranked ahead of Henderson, and we all like. We all. I think I was the only one who did that, but PPR, like I don't mind at all. I think it's fine for both teams, and it could change drastically, right? But I think it's fine right now.
The hype of Travis Hunter, because this is interesting. The 109 I mentioned was traded up for as well. The 113 and the 205. So and the person who got Travis Hunter also got $5 fab added to our $150
that made
budget.
all the difference.
So you get the 107 going for the 110 and 213, and the 109 going for the 113 and the 205. A better second round pick there. Pretty equal value, and it's Hunter falling to that spot. It gave this manager an opportunity to trade, and even if I got to pay a little more than what the person who got 107 did, if you get Travis Hunter and he turns out to be amazing, you're not concerned about what you gave up necessarily.
I'd have been willing to take him as high as the 103 in this draft, 102 in like a form like I think Cam Ward is a top 2 pick just because of the need of like how important like having 2 quarterbacks are, but I'd be ecstatic with that, and that's not to like bash on Luther Burden and Jalen Milroe, because actually in a vacuum, then if I was at the 109 and I had to trade back 4 spots and add the 205, I'd be ecstatic with getting Burden Milroe coming out of that. That like those are 2 extremely high ceiling prospects that really like it could change the franchise, right? If both like your fantasy franchise, if both of them hit. So love it both. Really, like what a great trade both ways. Like what the other one we just talked about.
Jamie, any thoughts about either of those trades?
Sorry, I had to run to the restroom real quick.
Okay, I was staring at the draft board, so I had no idea you weren't there.
Sorry.
You're so smooth. You're like a ninja. You got out, you're back. I didn't even know you were gone. I guess a Terminator ninja. So you got the 107 being traded for the 110 and 213. And we also have the 109 being traded for the 113 and the 205. So the 109 went for like the person who traded for the 109 gave up a better second round pick than the person who the 107 did. Now there's 3 spots earlier in the first round, but it's also 8 spots later in the second round. So does that? I found that dynamic interesting. But again, someone clearly liked Travis Hunter. Sorry, Jamie.
Yeah, I mean Travis Hunter. We talked about him on the wide receiver show. This guy could be a game changer, especially if he gets more snaps at wide receiver. And yeah, anything after like 109 and after, you grab Travis Hunter, add him to your already contending team, and that's going to be a smash play right there.
It's funny. We had the 107, 109, 110, 113, and also the 111 were picks that were traded for during the draft. So, and a couple of those were the same trades, as I just mentioned. But the 111, someone traded up for Caleb, or traded into the draft for Caleb Johnson. They got the 111 and the 313, as well as Isaac Arendo. 3 pieces for 2. Big name on the other side, Bucky Irving and Ben Sinnott. So we got the 111, 313, and Isaac Arendo on one side, Bucky Irving and Ben Sinnott on the other side. 111, Caleb Johnson, and then just for future reference sake, 313 is Jaden Blue. Also running back. A lot of running backs in the trade.
Yeah, because you got Jaden Blue, Caleb Johnson,
and Garendo,
and they gave up Bucky Irving.
And Bensonot. So Bucky.
And Benson. Yeah, no, I like that Bucky side. I'm not a big Bucky truther,
Right.
but getting Bucky over Caleb and Benson, like, that dude could smash a year from now. He could be the next Trey McBride. Like as soon as Zach Ertz gets out of the picture, we'll see what
John
happens there.
Bates got that. It's also in the way still now too, though. Right? Like, Arizona didn't have a John Bates. That really doesn't matter. I'm just he is there. John Bates really does exist, but yeah, he's probably not going to be a big roadblock if Ben Sinnott is actually that good.
Didn't Zach Ertz re-sign though?
Yeah, he did. Zach Ertz is back for 1 year, and I think John Bates just also re-signed like a.
You're right.
That's just why he's there, but if Ben Sinnott's that good, that's not going to be a roadblock that's going to stop him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think like Sinnott like matters in this trade, and I personally would lean towards the sell Bucky Irving side of the debate, but I think this is incredible value for the team getting Bucky Irving here.
Yeah,
because the problem is you'd love to get picks for Bucky, but not if you have to make this decision before the NFL draft. Like, I'd be wanting to get 26 first at a minimum, and then other pieces. Like, give me Guerrero, give me a 26 first, and say a 26 second. Right, I got to kick it down a year. Move that third to a second. I like that trade a little more because I've got a whole year to figure out what to do with that first and second before I actually have to decide and make a rookie pick.
I mean, I've seen some people
really they like Caleb Johnson because they are trading up this specific
exactly
to really take Caleb Johnson. So, sorry,
I was gonna say I've seen some people rank Bucky in the top 6 in dynasty rankings. I think going for 2, Jeff, and their consensus,
that's fair.
they had him in their top 6. Like that's insane to me. I have Bucky. I have Bucky like really close to Caleb Johnson and overall, but they're both outside my top 12.
Really?
Yeah, I'm the Caleb Johnson hater. So I hate the idea of giving up Bucky to get Caleb Johnson because that's not a back I believe in. I didn't necessarily believe in Bucky before the draft last year either. The production was definitely there, but
I didn't at all either. But Jamie, did I just hear you say that Bucky Irving's outside of your top 12 running backs in Dynasty?
Oh, I'm sorry. He's at 12 right now.
Do you have Kyren Williams ranked higher than him?
Kyren Williams. No, Kyron's at 16 for me.
Oh,
and I'm starting to lower him even more.
I'm guessing Roschon's 11.
Oh, Roschon's actually outside my top 40.
Take off one of the ones from 11. You have Roschon's ranking for Jamie.
Yeah, Roschon is my 101, obviously.
I don't know. Like, we could get completely sidetracked, but if you just look at the last few years, and I experienced this pain because I spent a pretty penny on Breece Hall last offseason. But Breece Hall, DeAndre Swift, Najee Harris, Javonte Williams, like look at the guys that like have been, in the top like 3-4 running backs in the last like 2-3 years. Like just the volatility in this position is insane. All that being said, and so that would be the sell Bucky Irving case. But all that being said, I think this is a great price. I would have done it 10 out of 10 times to receive Bucky Irving, especially before the draft, right?
You notice that you can highlight a team and you see all the picks they made. Notice all of my incredible draft capital.
You have 0 picks?
Kyle, I was wondering that.
And one of the reasons that happened is because I gave up this year's first for Breece Hall. So and then other picks for other stuff. I actually have probably
what was your first 1-7?
Oh,
yeah, because I was just debating someone yesterday. I think Breece Hall should be worth the 102.
I'm sorry. Here's the thing. This is what I can't rectify is that Bucky Irving's coming off his rookie season, still has track on his rookie contract. Breece Hall's about to end his rookie contract.
Yeah.
And it did not look good last year, and I don't know that it's necessarily getting better this year. And he's going to have a quarterback that's probably not going to throw him a ton of receptions, which is his key to getting production. I find it wild that you have Bucky at 12 because like Breece Hall's the guy for me that falls out of the top 12.
It's just he's more talented in my eyes.
Is he going to be able to showcase that talent on the Jets and lead to fantasy points?
The vibe just feels so bad. The vibe feels really bad about Breece Hall too.
Yeah, he did it. He did it on an offense that didn't like kind of force fed him targets. Like he was a huge pass catcher for them.
Yeah,
Fields might, but there's also big risk that he won't.
I think you're absolutely right about Breece Hall. Should we keep going in this draft, Kyle?
I have Breece Hall right back to back with Hampton. So if someone was going to take Hampton at 102, I think
I have Bucky back to back with Hampton. So I honestly did we debate Breece Hall versus Bucky earlier, Jamie? I definitely had that debate with someone on a podcast.
That wasn't us.
Wasn't us? Okay. It was definitely someone else, but clearly the other person I was debating would agree with you with the Breece Hall.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jackson Dart.
You got to remember, I'm from the future, so I already know all these.
Tell me he's landed at a beautiful new team.
Jamie can already see in the future, a day in the future, to know that Jackson Dart's going to be an amazing pick. And so 201 is probably insane value, right, Jamie?
Especially in a 14-team league, he should have went. Oh man,
you're right.
Probably
that would be something where you'd elevate him over.
I'm thinking,
I'm surprised Trey Harris went ahead of him.
Well, I would have took Dart over Burden. I would have took Dart over Harris, and you know how much I love Harris.
I mean, I'm taking Dart over Caleb Johnson.
I would have taken Dart over Caleb. Abuka is at debate. I probably would go Abuka or Dart, either like 50%.
I guess the thing I can't get over is that, like, if you're getting off the risk of Bucky Irving, why are you buying into Caleb Johnson? Like, Dart could be risky too, but it feels like if you're going to sell off Bucky, you'd want to invest in something like Jackson Dart, especially in this league format. So, anyway, I think we all agree Dart's kind of a value at 201. Is it a value based on the trade? This pick was another one that was traded for, and involves a guy we've talked about this episode. So the team receiving Jackson Dart also got the 305, which they took Elijah Arroyo, and the 308, which they took Jack Besh. So you got those three rookie picks. On the other side, you've got Mike Evans and a 2026 first.
I don't know if I like that, and maybe that's also because I'm not from the future, and I don't know that Jackson Dart is actually a top 5 NFL draft pick as of this moment tomorrow. But I feel like this is almost giving away like 4 nickels to for a more than $1, really. Sorry, my math is really bad at this time of night, but Mike Evans and 26 first, and let me just remind myself how many starters in this league? Is it
11.
Start 11, 14 teams, super flex? Like, yeah, but you could have literally nothing with Dart, like Arroyo, Beck, and Coker. I won't even include Dart in there because QBs could be are very highly valued.
Not to include Jalen Coker.
Yeah, but I mean, even Jalen Coker, right? Like, all of these guys, like, besides Dart, I think, like, very easily could go to 0. And having even just like 1 year, one more productive season of Mike Evans and a 26 first, I'm not too sure of how high it's going to be, but I don't really like I don't know about the trade to acquire Jackson Dart before the NFL draft. Again, this is such a caveat. And I don't have any of these leagues, Kyle, so you'll have to tell me more about, you'll know more about the strategy, but it feels so risky to me to make this move.
I think it's the risk reward of, if Dart does get top 5 capital, he's probably not going to be there at 201. Like, what are you having to give up to get him? So if you wanted to get him, like, this is probably about as cheap as it's going to be if he gets drafted in the first round. Now, if he doesn't, this is maybe the range he's going in anyway, and you could have made this trade after the draft. And you could wait and see, but then again, the risk that he goes so much higher. So it could all. I mean, this maybe would have been those things where the manager wasn't necessarily planning to trade away Evans to get Dart, but then thought this is for him to fall to 201 and acquire him this cheaply is one thing. I mean, again, the idea of the
with the first
that could be the 114 next year, but it could also be the 101, and anywhere in between. What are you going to do with that first? I think that kind of hinges that. If you get Mike Evans and you're a contending team, and you use this first to buy another contending piece, and this sets you over the edge, I really like that side, like that ability to potentially add 2 starters to your lineup.
But do you think the team that's getting Dart, Arroyo, Beck, and Coker, like, again, I'm not very good at navigating this draft board, but that doesn't scream to me what team is it? The A set?
Yeah, so Ace? It's like Jaden Daniels, QB,
like not a
Rico
single like
Dowdle
well,
was
they got
RB1, Jaleel
they got Bucky Irving.
Yeah, this is the team that got Bucky Irving, yeah.
Yeah, but then Garrett Wilson, JSN, like this is if that team gave up their own 26 first, I'd be like that would be another shocking trade to me, to be honest.
There's not much depth, but if everything goes right, it's a playoff team. But yeah, you could one key injury and
Let's start 11. I'm struggling to even think of just 8 in my head, and just to get like I just really don't like the acquisition of like it all in the same trade of Arroyo, Beck, and Coker. Like to me, it doesn't move the needle. Like you have to squint like pretty.
Yeah, to me, it's
significantly.
What you said earlier, to me, it's like it isn't even trade, but it's like 4 quarters to 2 50-cent pieces.
Yeah.
To me, I kind of want those 2 50-cent pieces.
Yeah, Richard, not trying, right?
Like, I mean, but usually in like a start 11, I kind of want those more pieces to be able to start.
The 4 for 2 side is appealing, given the format,
but like
if the third and fourth
starters
are
dart throws,
Arroyo
like
and Bash, like
you got dart, and the rest are like throw. Like we don't know. Like Arroyo, we just talked about him earlier. Like it could be a couple years before you can start him. Same with Bash. Like Bash, I think he is NFL ready. We just have to see where he goes. Coker's not even. I'm not even considering him in this trade. He's just a throw-in. I don't want to start Coker. But if Dart works out like he's gonna, I like both sides of this trade, honestly.
All right, so moving on with the rest of the picks, we'll go through 5 here. Matthew Golden at 202, Cam Scattaboo at 203. We already referenced that. Jalen Noel at 204. Yeah. Jalen Milrow at 205, and then Jaden Higgins 206. So it's any alternating receivers and non-receivers. Anything stands out among those 5 picks?
Scattaboo should have went after Noel, Higgins, and Milrow.
Well, we're gonna get to a while before we probably say where you think Scatterbo should go. Right? Like, because I mean, I think there's still some running backs you probably like more than him, right?
Yeah, there's a few. But I do love that Noel and Higgins pick. I've seen Higgins go before Noel. I've seen Noel go after Higgins. Like those are going to be 2 great picks.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I don't really love that whole section. I mean, if Matthew Golden gets first-round capital in the NFL draft, then that's probably a good pick at 202. But I don't know, man. It's not. I felt like there was a lot of hype for second-round picks in this draft. And I mean, this is 14 teams. So everything's getting kind of pushed back 2 picks extra.
Well, all these guys are going to be second-round capital. Noel's going in a second. Higgins going in a second. No, I already know. Trust me.
All right, future.
Yeah.
Well, how would you know they could go later than the second, Jamie? If you're only a day ahead of us.
No,
yeah. How would the time zones change?
I mean, honestly, Kyle, though, I was just before you chimed in with that. I was going to say I love this like stretch of 5 picks. Scattaboo, the one, like I don't think he'll get the NFL draft capital to justify being taken this highly. But honestly, Golden, Noel, Higgins, and the dart throw of Milrow, as late as like 205, like I feel like there's a lot of value to mine in these picks, just with like the expected draft capital and the profiles of these wide receivers. Like I honestly feel pretty comfortable like scooping up some players here. It's funny, like you ended it right where with Higgins. To me, the real Wild West starts after this. After these.
Well, I wanted to talk about 207 because it's involved in a trade and it's involved in our episode, tight end episode, and the third tight end off the board is Mason Taylor here at 207. So this is, I think, really informative just on this pick alone. Of okay, is this the range we expect that third tight end to go off the board?
I think he should have went earlier if it's a 1.75 tight end premium.
I think with start 11, I think we've got 4 flex spots. So there's here are 3 flex spots, super flex plus 3 regular flex. So you've got room to play multiple tight ends and get tight ends in your roster. There's avenues for that.
Yeah. So looking at it, I think that's a perfect spot for him. Maybe 1 spot ahead if you move Scatterbo back.
Someone really liked Taylor because this was another pick that was traded for when the pick was on the clock. Someone gave up Alvin Kamara and got 207 and 302, which they selected DJ Giddens.
Oh man, that's tough.
Tough.
I probably would have
Tough.
I probably would have kept Kamara, man. I think you can get an early second for Kamara,
Yeah.
and then you could have
Tough.
gotten like a golden or a
When I
dart.
saw that, I thought, okay, again, like if I want to compete, yeah, I'd much rather have Kamara. It feels it's kind of like the Bucky Irving, but too, Bucky Irving's more hype, so he's going to go for a first, whereas Kamara's going for a mid-second.
I mean, if it's a rebuild team, I could see. I would have asked for that Mason Taylor pick and next year's second.
As opposed to a 302, yeah. They give me 2 seconds. Yeah, that makes sense. And in theory, because this draft happens before the NFL drafts, in my mind, I've kind of devalued these picks a little bit. Like these picks are worth less than they are like a draft that happens after the NFL draft because there's more security and certainty. So that's just the other thing too, which is why I got none of them. So yeah, Ollie Gordon goes at the 208 as that next running back. So it's interesting. I guess Scadaboo staying out is that RB6, right? Because I think again the top 5 seem to be pretty solid. Who's the 6th? Who's the 7th? In this case, it's Scadaboo. Gordon could be. You do 10 different drafts and it's 10 different combinations of names where it's 2 different guys. But Gordon at 208, Quinn Ewers 209. So is this what you're saying about the Wild West, like Rahul?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's get your guy kind of range, but that one's a little crazy, man. That one's a little crazy. And we were chatting a little bit about Tyler Shuh earlier. There's some rumor he might be a top 15 pick, which would be mind-boggling. And I know I was the high guy on Quinn Ewers, and I definitely do think there's some ADV there, but fucking hell, man.
Feels like the Browns would be that team, and there's no way that they're going to pass on Travis Hunter for Tyler Shuh. So I'm skeptical that he's going in the first round. Browns take him at 34 overall. Sure, okay.
Wait. What's your Browns take?
Well, I mean, they did with Brandon Weeden, right? The old quarterback, former professional baseball player, 29-year-old rookie. Yeah, let's take him in the first round. Meanwhile, the Seahawks just, we'll take Russell Wilson in the third. Sure, why not? Sorry to match that up.
The interesting pick for me right there, Ollie Gordon. Like I really do like that, and I like I just said, like it's like get your guy kind of range, and like logically, Ollie Gordon is gonna fall in the NFL draft just with like his last year production and like the off-field issues. Like I'm kind of envisioning like day 3, like 5th round draft capital for Ollie Gordon, if I really had to like call it right now. So strategically, maybe not the best move, but again, like just get your guy. He's an electric talent. So
I could see Gordon going in the 4th round of the NFL draft. Kind of like the Roshan Johnson type player. Gordon did have that one really good year, but
really good
like,
is an understatement. Like he was I think he's
phenomenal.
Yeah. He's a Doak Walker winner that year. So
Yep.
I really can't complain too much. And if you don't think he's gonna,
he's trying to run. Why is he winning a walking award?
Like I'm not a Devin Neal. I'm not a Devin Neal guy, but I think I would take Devin Neal over Ollie Gordon. I do love Dylan Sampson.
I'm the Devin Neal guy. I don't have to say it.
I would take Dylan Sampson over Gordon, but I don't mind Gordon going in the late 2nd round, like above Tootin. And even though I think Tootin,
it's Jamie. If anything, it's just surprising that so few running backs went after Caleb Johnson.
That's very true.
As we're going to get to that range, but Quinn Ewers 209. I just thought that was way too early.
That's way too early for a backup quarterback.
If he goes in the 2nd round, maybe that makes it worth it.
Honestly, I would have took.
Seems like he's hard pressed to even do that. So
I'd rather have Tyler Shuck, but the guy got
easily
a full round later, which is insane.
Yeah.
So like he could have took Dylan Sampson at that pick or a Fannin, and then still got Tyler Shuck.
Well, no, it's different teams. That was literally
my bad.
His only pick. Wow.
Oh wow!
So
that's your only pick, Quinn Ewers. I mean,
yeah, you failed. You should quit this league.
He's the commish. He's the one who runs it, and he's got QB. So it was a little surprising. Maybe if he gets second round capital, he's going to be worth more than anyone else at this point. I imagine is Clay's logic.
Is that that's Clay from Trades in 5, isn't it?
Oh,
Yeah,
Andrew Clay.
yeah, it
Clay?
could be some big Scott Connor ADV kind of thinking, like
Well,
Quinn
I don't think
Ewers, if
Scott
he ever
Connor's
gets
with,
that shot.
Scott Connor's not with them anymore.
Yeah,
But
but they
Clay
podcasted for
to Scott
years and
enough.
years, right?
Yeah,
Like,
he's listened to Scott talk enough. He knows. His
yeah,
process.
yeah. So so like that being said, like, will Quinn Ewers even return more than that 209? I don't know. So,
And I
it's an
love
interesting
Clay.
pick.
So the 2022 draft was the one that ruined, man, because I remember everyone was like, oh yeah, do draft before the NFL draft, prove how awesome you are. And a bunch of people took Malik Willis 101 or 102, and Clay was one of those people. So
Wait, what?
I think he ended up with the 101 and 102. So he got Breece Hall, but also Malik Willis, right? Because all the hype before the draft, we were expecting Malik Willis to pay dividends there, right? So Clay's already shown the willingness to take the shots in the quarterbacks.
That's crazy. I remember I took Malik Willis one league, but I got him in like the second round.
Again, I assume
And I
after the
regret
NFL draft, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Because but pre-draft, he was going as a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember
Top
that.
2.
Yep.
So that's the risk reward of the draft before the draft, right? Harold Fannin went 210, and another interesting trade here. Someone traded up from the 214, traded 214 and 404 to move up those 4 spots to get Harold Fannin. Jalen Royals went 214, and then Donovan Edwards was the other pick. So to get a tight end, I imagine like a 4th is more than worth it to move up to get that tight end. Now, is Fannin the tight end to take? That's the question more than anything.
Fannin, man. I mean, I would look at Ferguson over Fannin. I know we just did our rankings, right?
Me too.
Congrats,
baby. Well, and I mean, to Max Fire's credit, he did end up getting Ferguson later, so maybe he played it well. If he had gone Ferguson, maybe he doesn't get Fannin.
Yeah.
He could have got Josh Beck or Tyler Shuck.
Yeah, but in this format, like Fannin could be the Fannin like bull case. If Fannin hits a ceiling, he could be a monster in a 1.75 tight end premium. So the receiving production he's already shown. Like if Fannin hits, like he's gonna hit really big in this format. So I think
this is the type of pick that could increase in value easily if he has a great rookie season, more than we expect. Like his value will skyrocket from one year to the other. Dylan Sampson at the 211 and Bashal Tootin at the 212, and that is actually another trade. Jamie, I don't know what you thought of this trade. I know you like one of these players. Bashal Tootin, or the 212, straight up for Marshawn Lloyd and Roman Wilson. 2 rookie failures from last year. Let's take a shot at Bashal Tootin.
Well, the thing is, the only reason we aren't considering Roman Wilson in this area is because he didn't play last year. He was MIA. He was on a milk carton the whole year. He showed up like once during practice. Like
he was a healthy scratch basically the whole year, right? Like, it's not like
but they did say that they like if they needed him further into the playoffs, they would have used him. They just didn't need him.
They lost so early in the playoffs.
I think he's
maybe they should have used him then in the first game of the playoffs to prevent that.
I mean,
and then they traded for DK Metcalf,
and then they're looking to trade away Pickens.
That's true.
But Roman Wilson is a slot receiver. That's his position. He's not an outside guy.
He can coexist with
he could exist in that like 60 to 65% of snaps in the slot. I think I'm not giving up on Roman Wilson. Last year I grabbed him in like 18 of my 25 leagues.
He was your most rostered player, I think. We just made a conversation.
Yep. And it was right around the spot where I got him late.
Well,
late second, early third.
Anytime he fell to the late second, you were always taking him. So would you re-roll or would you un-re-roll?
I'm keeping Roman. The way that the Steelers are
talking I know
about
you're
Roman
keeping
Wilson.
Him. Are you willing to give up the 212 to get him right now? Like, are you that other manager that's you're sitting there at 212 and you're saying
I've been on the clock. I've been on the clock at 212, and I've seen Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins both on the clock. I would rather have Nolan Higgins over Roman Wilson. But that 301, that's where it makes a difference. Like, I would give up my 301 for him.
Rahul, did you want to chime in on this one?
Pick your poison, I guess. See it both ways. Yeah, but exactly what Jamie said at the end there. Like, there are probably a couple guys that like I'd rather the 212 than Roman Wilson and Marshawn Lloyd a year into their NFL careers, which we've seen nothing of either of them really. Like Devin Neal, like surely, like you guys know I'm a big Damian Martinez guy, but it seems like a pretty fine enough trade. I think you got a very good point about how the pre-NFL draft rookie picks are worth a little less. I think it'd be harder to get that one by in a post-NFL draft, an actual rookie draft, right? When
we have a better idea of who should be at that 212, and we'll feel more confident in that prospect, that landing spot.
Exactly, right. Like, there's probably like a late day 2, like early day 3 running back in a fine enough spot that I'd really much rather have than Roman Wilson and Marshawn Lloyd, who is that late day 2 running back in a fine enough landing spot, right?
Landing spots.
So I was gonna say Arroyo or no Ale Manor. I like Ale Manor.
213.
He's a guy that I was gonna go all in on this year, just like I did last year on Roman Wilson. I don't know if I'd rather have Alec over Roman.
I'll re-roll. After seeing Wilson just not get on the field last year, I'll definitely re-roll him. Give me the Canadian for sure.
It's tough. It's razor thin for me. I love both of them. But like I said, I do like Higgins and Noel over them. So if you give me the option of Alec Manor and Roman Wilson, that's going to be tough for me.
So that's ultimately what I got to. Would you be willing to give up this 212 knowing Manor's there? Give that up. And is Marshawn Lloyd, even if you're kind of on the fence, is
I would
Marshawn
just
Lloyd
cut
enough of a
Marshawn
sweetener?
Lloyd. I don't want Marshawn Lloyd. He is
so then it really just comes down to the Wilson thing. And
the Wilson and Manor. I think I would probably go Manor over Wilson.
Well, anyway, clearly this person didn't, because they went Tootin instead. But Alec Manor at 213, Jalen Royals 214. We already kind of mentioned those. Those are kind of the remnants of other trades. Just mentioned the Royals trade. That was the pick the manager who has Fannin now originally had. And then where was the Manor trade? That was I don't remember. So it doesn't matter. Oh wait, that was the Henderson Quinchon Judkins trade.
Oh yeah,
that was the payment to again. So and again, I guess now hindsight, right? Are you okay being that Judkins manager, knowing to move down, you got basically Alec Manor for free? Is that worth it for that move down, and then is that worth it for the trade? Is Manor about fair price for that difference between Henderson and Judkins? Clearly these two managers thought it was the fair price.
I've seen people rank Judkins over Henderson. I've seen Henderson over Judkins. Like, it razor thin, man. It depends on the offense. They're gonna both produce numbers. One's gonna be more touchdown. One's gonna be more in the like passing game. But yeah, I would take Manor for free and take the other guy.
So the one thing, just at the end, like the tail end of the second round to the start of the third round, really we get I think it's a 10-pick span where 7 running backs go off the board. Samson, Tootin, just at the end of the second, 211, 212. And then we had 4 straight running backs. Devin Neal at 301. DJ Gittins, 302. Damian Martinez, 303. RJ Harvey, 304. There's another guy at 306, but there's a couple trades involved in this range. I already mentioned the Gittins pick. That was, again, the other pick of trading up for Harold Fannin. That was, I think. No, that was the Kamara trade. Mason Taylor. I knew it was involved with tight end. Mason Taylor and getting DJ Gittins. Another running back trade out. Almost a re-roll type of thing. This, Jamie, it seems similar to me to the Roman Wilson thing, slightly different. Trey Benson on one side for the 301 and 303. Get 2 re-rolls here.
So 301, Devin Neal, 303, mistakenly took Martinez when he could have had Harvey.
I'll agree.
Hey.
I prefer
So-
Harvey as well.
About
But
that one.
Give me Neil and Harvey over Trey Benson. Like Trey Benson right now, I think he's worth a late second, but if you get those 2 early thirds, and if you can get Neil and Harvey, I would rank Benson probably like right in that range of that Neil and Harvey area. So if you're getting 2 running backs for the price of 1, give me that all day.
I mean, I like Devin Neal over Trey Benson straight up. So Martinez,
so
Harvey,
I
doesn't
kinda
even
do
really
too,
matter who
yeah.
the second piece is. Like I love that.
And I guess the thing with Benson and Marshawn Lloyd before is like what is gonna change this year, like besides like injury striking, like okay, James Conner at least, historically injury prone, but what we just saw with the Cardinals, and I have to check their depth chart, is Amari DiMarcardo came in, worked in, Michael Carter, I think came in when Benson was injured, but like they just were not like did not want to trust Benson with the workload, any like sizable workload. Marshawn Lloyd like had injury problems, but like what is gonna happen there with like Josh Jacobs has to go down for these guys to hit. So much rather take the 2 re-rolls here.
100%, yes.
Anyway, right after that RJ Harvey pick at 304, we get Elijah Arroyo at 305, which I think that was also involved in the trade too, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, clearly
That
you
was
see
in the
that-
Jackson Dark trade
Right,
with
yeah,
the
thank you.
Evans in the
Yes.
first.
Right. Thank you. Trevor Etienne at 306, kind of ending that little mini running back run, because then it'll be about 7 picks before the next one, a half round. Terrance Ferguson 307. Already mentioned the person who traded up for Fannin, also ended up getting both tight ends, and then Jack Besh 308, also part of that Jackson Dark trade. So we got a couple of the tight ends here. So, 2 tight ends per round. Warren Loveland in the first, Taylor Fannin in the second, Arroyo Ferguson in the third. But guess what? Those were our top 6, and those were the first 6 to go. Looks like they're the first 6 to go in the NFL draft. And so, naturally, first 6 to go in rookie mocks and rookie drafts here.
Man, this stretch could easily go from 3rd round here to, UDFAs and rookie drafts. Like
Tyler Shuck, right? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, after that, we have a couple of quarterbacks. Tyler Shuck at 308.
I guess that's the one. Yeah, sorry to cut you off, Kyle, but I guess that's the one. Like, yeah, if you're gonna have to take a shot pre-draft, like Tyler Shuck there, excellent value, right? You could quadruple your value just like in the next 2 days. Let's say if he goes tomorrow night, I'll be a little shocked, but.
Oh, you will? Okay. Wow. I thought you were expecting it. After the 2 quarterbacks, we get 2 more tight ends, Gunnar Helm and Ole. It's Ole, right? Aronde
Gatson.
And I do feel like they're being elevated because of the format, but because of the format, I guess it does make sense if you believe in those tight ends to take shots on them at the end of the 3rd. Another running back mini run here. Jaden Blue at 313. Raheem Sanders at 314. Brashad Smith at 401. And then we have Xavier Restrepo 402. Jordan James at 403 and Donovan Edwards 404. So we had 5 running backs in a 4-pick span there. We have a few of those pockets.
Yeah. Do y'all remember when like Raheem Sanders, Rocket Sanders, was like touted as like one of the best like Devy running backs? Like,
yes.
Around the same time, we were all really hyping up Donovan Edwards. Funny how we're in similar range.
Yeah. Oh my god, man. Well, who knows? Who knows? But one, I know you didn't even mention him yet, Kyle, but I've been seeing a lot of Torrey Horton hype.
I love
He's coming up in just a couple picks. Isaiah Bond 405, Torrey Horton 406. So.
Yep. I've been grabbing a lot of him in the 4th.
And then another running back run, another 5 running backs in 4 picks. LaQuint Allen.
Darquan Hunter, another guy
Uh,
you'll see across the internet from time to time.
I don't know.
I was really disappointed that I didn't trade into the 4th round to get him, and that he didn't survive for me to spend fab money on.
Yeah,
I would rather have Taj Brooks, honestly, over Hunter.
Well, we know that, but I'd rather have Hunter than like anyone in the 4th round. So
Yeah.
I'm crazy, Kyle. I'm crazy, Canuck Kyle. Dylan Gabriel at 411. I think Jamie already referenced that one.
Wait, Kyle. you just mentioned the name Kyle, which made me realize where it's Kyle Williams.
Crazy
So-
Kyle won't seem
dude.
so crazy after the draft.
Bro, so
Well, I
Kyle,
was gonna say, I don't even know who this Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt is, but he
What?
went 412. Ty Felton 413, and then Tez Johnson ending it all at 414. And someone loved Tez Johnson enough to trade into this last pick to get him and just forego spending fab money on him.
I can't believe 56 players went and Kyle Williams did not go off.
This,
So,
this last
Rahul.
trade is just hilarious. It's Tez Johnson and Andy Dalton on one side for Drew Lock and Aiden O'Connell on the other.
Oh, yeah.
so I loved your Kyle Williams take. I've been looking into this guy ever since we talked about him. I love his tape and his game. I'm doing these 35 round, 12 team IDP offense, Superflex, best ball leagues.
Mhm.
35 rounds. He isn't even drafted in 35 rounds. And I've been grabbing him with my very last pick in every single one of these drafts.
This guy's got some juice. I
Yeah,
just heard a stat.
People are
He-
taking
he-
Savion Williams like 10 rounds ahead. And I'm like, why are you taking Savion Williams when you can get Kyle Williams?
Yeah. No, I
It
just
just
heard a
doesn't make
stat
sense.
that of the players, of the offensive players, like Kyle Williams had the most 20 plus mile per hour plays. Maybe that was just wide receivers. Yeah, wide receivers in the last year. This guy has legitimate juice. So
Now,
Highly
when
better.
you are drafting on Sleeper, be careful because there is a Kyle Williams that's 26 years old, right? And it's not the same Kyle Williams that we're talking about.
you're
Make sure you're grabbing the one that's 15% rostered, not the one that's 0% rostered.
Well, clearly someone, I guess no one's made the mistake then. If they're not 0% rostered, Kyle quickly checks his roster to see.
Oh my
Oh, no, it's
days.
the 46% rostered Kyron Williams, or Kyle Williams. Okay, we're good.
Well, I'm looking at a redraft. You're looking at Dynasty.
Okay. I imagine the other guy is not 46% on rostered Dynasty.
Oh,
No,
wait,
Kyle Williams is 50% rostered in these best ball drafts.
And I just spoiled it for Rahul. I was going to do the big reveal, but
I
post-draft,
just-
going in on Fab, the one guy that really stood out to me that fell, I was kind of earmarking some of the running backs, like Darquez Hunter for sure. But the one dude that was kind of on my board that I was maybe considering trading in for that was still there was, in fact, Kyle Williams. So this is maybe here's a bit of a theoretical lesson in Fab.
We got a comment.
But I want to just finish this out, talk about
Okay.
Kyle Williams, and we'll get to that trade before we get to our trade of the week. So with Kyle Williams, I put $16 of Fab on him. I won him. And the 16 wasn't so random. The next highest bid was 13, so I needed to spend that much.
Sniped. Yeah. Nice.
Again, I did just pull the number out of it anywhere. I mentioned that the league almost folded. We had 6 new managers, but anyway, I looked. One of the things I do every year is I look back to last year's post rookie draft. What were the spending habits on Fab for people after the last year's rookie draft to give me an indication of if I really want a player, what should I expect to have to spend to get them? And so I isolated just the 8 managers that were, and I guess 7 if I discount myself, the other 7 managers that were still part of this league last year. What did they bid? And the highest bid I could find from any of those people was $15. So I said, I'll go one higher with 16. And sure enough, that's what it was. I also put $1 bids on Riley Leonard, which I didn't get. He went for 7. But I put a $1 bid on the Canadian kid, Curtis Rourke, baby. Let's go. Got it. My Curtis Rourke share. So now I don't have to stress about it. We'll see. Hopefully he gets drafted tomorrow. That'd be great. I got at least one out of this. So
To all our listeners, well, thank you for being with us. So we still have a little bit to go, but I just want to say that was some Dynasty masterclass right there from Kyle. Like at the end of the day, like you can know all this like theory about all these players, but you're playing in like a micro universe that is your league mates, and understanding league mate tendencies will give you a bigger edge than really anything like knowing about these like prospects or like offenses and such will. Because Dynasty is a game that you can grind up and win at the edges. Because let's say Kyle Williams even a 600 yard season this year, like could be late second, early third next year. Just like the value flip from 16 fab dollars is, just astronomical, right?
And
So
even if he doesn't do much as a rookie, but year 2 there's a bit of a breakout and there's hype to sell him for anything, it might be worth it. Or even if that's points
exactly.
that help me win games. But yeah, we've got a trade of the week, but even before that, we have a comment, not a comment of the week. We have several comments this week, which is great. But Brittany pulling up here. Yeah, bad joke. I'm sorry. Would you trade the 101 for Garrett Wilson in the 105? It is a 10-team Superflex PPR. Brittany also shared the roster in case you want extra context. 101 for Garrett Wilson in 105.
So she also mentioned in the comment, instead of Garrett Wilson, she could do JSN.
Which
So
I've got them pretty close in
me too.
ranking. So
Same.
that would almost be personal preference, I think.
Yeah. I kind of would, honestly. It's a 10-team Superflex.
Yeah, and I mean, Brittany mentions
10.
the running back room is not great, right? You'd love to get a running back, but as we saw in the draft, like 105 could still be a Travion Henderson.
It could be a Marin Hampton.
Yeah,
if he
take
falls.
a look at the wide receiver room as well. I think Brittany is lacking in pieces. And initially when I read this trade, I was like, no way am I giving up Genty, especially because there is a little bit of a negative stink around Garrett Wilson these days. But actually assessing the roster, I wouldn't mind getting, splitting Genty into 2 like high tier assets. What do you guys think about like Wilson or JSN plus 105? Like it could be there, but just like from seeing some of these like mock drafts and an actual draft, player 105 is going to be, quite a strong young piece to add. And if you can make it that the right wide receiver to add as well, it could be better than just adding Genty on, given the state of this team at the running back and wide receiver position.
Heck, and even if that pick could be Henderson, we saw the power of what you could get for just moving down a few spots and getting Judkins or something. So, maybe some clarity might happen after the draft. So, yeah, it's tough to. I don't have any 101, so it's really tough to think. Like, am I willing to sell that away or just give me Genty? Just give me Genty. But that does seem like a really good offer. Like I guess the question is, do you think there's a better offer out there than this?
So I took over an orphan team in a listener league for the Dynasty, the front office pros. So every year, the last place team gets replaced. And I was the one that replaced this team, and I have the 101. This guy offered me a trade that just didn't make sense. I countered. I was like, I'll give you the 101 and the 301. But you have to give me the 105, the 108, and 112. And he said that's way too much. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's the 112.
That's your price. I mean, it might be too much relative to other leagues, but I mean, this is the only price. The only person's price that matters is the person who holds the pick. Right?
So you're getting the 105 for the 101, and you're also adding JSN or Garrett Wilson, who is, I would give up the 112 and 108 for either of those guys.
So you're saying like this is for someone who has the 101, this is the type of structure to a deal you'd like to see. Like this is the value requisite.
Yes.
To make that move. Because you believe so strongly in the 105.
I do like the 105. Yes, that could be Hampton if he falls. If not, grab Henderson. So you're getting a top 10 running back. You're not getting a top 4 running back like Genty, but you're still getting a top 10 guy that's going to put up points. And you're getting JSN on top of that, who's a top 10 guy, or Garrett Wilson, who's a top 10 guy.
Yeah. So I think from that, again, I guess my one question to go back to you, Brittany, do you think this is the best possible offer you're going to get? Do you think there's a better offer out there that you can hold out for? If not, if you think this is the best.
I don't think so. I think that's a great offer.
Very well might be the best offer that you're going to receive. So if you think it's the best offer you're going to receive and it matches the threshold of the value you need, then I think it's fine to make.
And my question is, do you also have the 201 and 301 in a 10-team league? That's going to be solid players.
That's true too. Mm-hmm. I mean, the 11th pick here was Caleb Johnson. In theory,
Yep.
in theory, it's a
Which could be Bucky
That's
Irving in some
that's-
leagues.
that's also-
apparently, yeah.
That is also at Buka or like that.
Sure.
Maybe Travis Hunter falls or Golden or
Yeah, this is one of the
something like
leagues
that.
where people are just so scared of Travis Hunter that
So yeah, she says she does. She does have those picks. So
Good
I
question,
would
Jamie.
move. I would move down because I would give up 101. Kind of equals to JSN alone, if you think about it. Like
Oh,
a top,
man.
a top. You get a top 5 dynasty running back and a top 10 dynasty receiver. Receivers are more valuable than those running backs. So if I give up,
But this isn't just a top 10 running back. I mean, this is like the RB3 in Dynasty.
Yeah,
Genty,
so-
I think I would not give up Genty for just JSN. I think it's pretty far. I think what we talked about, like Neighbors and BTJ are above Genty, right? I think like to give you guys some context, I made 2 offers. Oh, I guess it was for Bijan, not Genty. I did offer Amon Ra for Genty and I got denied. So if that gives some context, it's different in every league, but I guess my hesitation is like, is Garrett Wilson or JSN the piece you really want to be adding? And it sounds like Jamie is higher on those 2 wide receivers than I might be.
My next
But-
question, can you use that 201 and Wilson/JSN? Can you move into that top 8 tier that we spoke about a couple weeks ago? Can you go get a Nico Collins? Can you go get a Brian Thomas Jr.?
That's what I want.
so I'm
Can you
looking
go
right
get
now.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's probably more attainable right now, right? Is Garrett Wilson the thing that leapfrogs you into that by adding him with a pick, right? Or
That's very true. That's very true,
So-
Kyle.
and then you still can bank the 105 as being that running back. Sorry, Jamie. Go ahead.
To me, JSN and the 108, 109 equals Genty. So
So the
you're adding
105, you'd probably eat pretty
the
easily.
105 is easily a smash because that's 4 or 5 picks ahead of what I
With-
value.
With
But
this
also, you have to
thinking-
remember when you're trading away 1 elite player for 2 players, you need that 10% premium. So that 105 is definitely like a 20 to 30% premium on top of JSN. So I think you're adding value to your roster.
Well, we should ask Brittany if you're still in the chat. Brittany, can you let us know how many starters
Yeah, is it a
in
start
your
8?
league?
Or is it a
That's
start
also an
12?
important question, especially in a 10-teamer. Maybe then, but like we need to know the starting positions would help us give even more, I guess, feedback.
Well, I don't
I-
see. I mean, I guess if it's deep enough rosters, then we'll always just say take the 2 pieces anyway. So is there a point where it's so shallow that you just want
Start 8, yeah.
Start 8.
Start
eight
8.
starters total?
Even a start
Yeah.
9, I'd probably go Genty.
Yeah,
starters total?
that's on the line. Yeah.
Like when it hits that start 10, that's when it kind of
The
skews
2 starters
for me.
might equal more than what you get with the 1
Mhm.
starter. So yeah, let us know, Brady. But I think we are going to move on right now to the trade of the week. This one brought to you by the same league we just reviewed. It was the one trade I kind of held back because it's also arguably the biggest. A lot of pieces here. 4 pieces on each side, 3 picks on each side, and 2 players. So as mentioned, the league settings, a 14-team Superflex start 11, 1.75 tight end premium. We have the 102, 202, 311, and Darnell Mooney on one side. For the 106, 203, 406, and James Cook. And I guess I can go back to sharing the screen so we can see also what those picks ended up being. Because now we know what the picks are. But yeah, so we've got quarterbacks on each side of that. The 102 being Cam Ward. I said earlier, 106. Remember to keep your eye out for Shadur Sanders, and that's so you got the 2 rookie quarterbacks in this trade. We've got Matthew Golden on the same side as Cam Ward, but Cam Scattaboo on the other, which that's a 1 pick difference. I'm sure for all our minds, that value difference between those 2 picks might be big. Gunnar Helm on one side, Troy Horton on the other, and then the side with the higher picks, Ward, Golden, Helm has Darnell Mooney versus Sanders, Scattaboo, Horton has James Cook. So I don't know if I broke down that enough or gave enough context, but what do you guys think of that trade?
I'm sorry to the 106 manager. I say this with all the love in my heart. I'm just not a fan of your game. Shador Sanders at the 106 and Cam Scatteraboo at the 203. And I mean,
Horrible.
yeah, I mean, even I don't like James Cook either, man. Like I think he had his best ever fantasy season just last year. So at the time when none of the picks had been made, sure, fine. And honestly, maybe the winning side, but as we sit here today in our comfy armchairs reviewing a league that we're not in, I'm not a big fan of that trade. Or that one of the three of us is in. I can say I'm not a big fan of the trade.
So
I didn't
let me get
participate in
this,
the rookie draft, but I'm in this league.
let me get it straight. So Cam Ward and Matthew Golden was on one side.
Shador Sanders and James Cook. Really,
Yeah.
I really view them as the two big pieces on the other side.
Shador Sanders, James Cook, Scatteraboo, and Horton.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Ward, Golden, Gunnar Helm, and Mooney.
Ooh.
Now, not all like I think this trade was made when the 102 was on the clock. So
Right.
trade
So
up
at,
specifically
at
for
that
Ward.
time, yeah.
So they didn't know they'd necessarily get Sanders at 106 either. But
Which is that makes it interesting, and I'm sure we can just look at the rosters, but like knowing they took Sanders at the 106.
talk about Josh
imply-
Allen and Stafford.
Yeah. Oh, that team. Yeah, man. Like if the plan was always to get a QB, then like why not just take Cam Ward, right?
Yeah.
James
exactly.
Cook's about to be on the last year of his rookie contract,
Yeah.
so it gets to the risky part of the running back age cliff now. You get Golden as a potential first round receiver. Now again, making this trade, you wouldn't know that Golden would fall to the 202, but maybe you knew okay, there's the 14th overall or the 16th overall pick is going to be a certain threshold of player that I'm willing to make that bet on over James Cook.
I would have liked that James Cook side if they actually took the right freaking players instead of Sanders
I
and
really like
Scatteraboo.
Cam Scatteraboo, so I think it's closer, but I tend to agree.
I
Like
don't think so.
it probably is worth it to give up this to go get Cam Ward. And then again,
Yeah,
Golden's a
I
good
agree.
second piece, even though I don't love Golden. But if the NFL really loves him and he goes in the first round, then yeah, he's probably most definitely worth it.
Oh,
So, I mean,
Brittany did
if you
say
want to go,
this is-
if you need a quarterback and you're kind of in this middle ground, and maybe you've got a James Cook, like this is kind of an example of what it might take to go up to get Cam Ward if you really want that stability. And I mean, you kind of easily said you'd give that up for Cam Ward.
I think it's worth it. I think it's worth
Yeah,
it.
that's
I mean,
cool.
I proclaimed in this kind of league, Cam Ward is worthy of the 101. In a league where 28 quarterbacks start each week and only 32 quarterbacks start in the NFL each week, that QB1 who is going 101 tomorrow, where we know exactly where he's going, which Tennessee Titans, but still, I think that's a lot of value.
If you go back and look from 1980 to now, the first round picks that were taken, only 11% of them made the Hall of Fame. So what makes you think that Cam Ward being taken at number 1 is going to be good? Because franchises that actually have the 101, they're not ran very well.
Yeah.
Titans.
So why not just give that pick up for someone else? I don't get it. 11% from 1980 to now made it to the Hall of Fame. So the chances are Cam Ward is a bust.
Well, I mean, there's a huge difference between he's a bust and he's a Hall of Famer. Like he could be in between that and still be very fantasy relevant.
Yeah, well, so can Bryce Young, right?
Yeah, he just showed it.
Who's outside my top 25?
He was a great fantasy quarterback in the playoffs last year, in the fantasy playoffs. So,
I mean,
I do
like I
actually
said,
have them as similar prospect score. So actually, Bryce Young is a good comparison, Jamie.
Yeah, like I said, I think Cam Ward is both going to be is a good prospect, going to be a good NFL QB. Like system wise, yeah, Titans not the most exciting landing spot, functional franchise, but I really like the investment made in the offensive line over the last couple of years with the draft capital. All our listeners, I recommend watching our last episode about the QB prospects. Hear our full thoughts on Cam Ward. And then, but the last thing about the Tennessee Titans is also Brian Callahan, though, we haven't really seen it yet, but I do think it's going to be a pretty QB friendly system. So I feel pretty good about Cam Ward. And then you add 28 starting QBs week in, week out, in this fantasy league. So I think, is he gonna be a Hall of Fame quarterback? I'm not saying that for sure, but I really like the trading up to the 102 and the value of the quarterback. We know is going to be his name is going to be called first tomorrow. We know that for a fact.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
So back to Brittany's trade, because this is interesting. And this
that's a start 10.
Well, QB scarcity though, 2 QBs and a super flex. The ability to start 3 quarterbacks is this? No, I assume that's correct. Like, let us know if that's a typo, Brittany.
Yeah, I think that's a typo. I've
been in leagues like that though, Jamie. Like I played in a league where it was 1 QB and 2 super flex spots. So we're playing 3 a week. In that type of format, my first thought is, definitely trade out then, because you might get a quarterback in that 105. But then now I'm thinking, in that type of format, that's where you justify taking Cam Ward 101. But I think I'm still going to.
Why would you take Cam Ward when you could have Jackson Dart, the number 1 quarterback of this class?
Which again, if you're Mark QB1, right? Like again,
it's kind of like Bo Nix versus
Caleb
Williams.
If Jackson Dart gets first round capital, but that's still not a guarantee right now. So, but probably you'll have clarity to that, right? So this might be something where Brittany, if you can hold off on accepting or declining until tomorrow, we'll get a lot more clarity in the next 24 hours.
Dude, if Tyler Shuck gets first round with draft capital, you gonna take him 101?
No.
Could go 102.
I'm going to take Cam Ward over Tyler Shuck. That's not the it. Like I like.
But for fantasy purposes, I could see Tyler Shuck.
Not even close.
For fantasy purposes, I could see a world where Tyler Shuck outproduces Cam Ward.
Sure, I can see a lot more scenarios though where Cam Ward's outproducing Tyler Shuck every year in, year out.
We've entered the lunacy zone, folks, as we've crept past 2 hours.
I think it's time to go to
we
bed.
broke the 2 hour mark.
All right.
It's funny, we were going so quickly on tight ends. I thought, we might get to do this quickly. we took our time for that draft review, which I think was worth it.
Yeah, I do.
A couple listener questions too, so appreciate Brittany coming in. Appreciate Keith. Hopefully we're able to help you out and continue to come back and ask us all sorts of questions. We certainly love interacting with people, whether it's in the comments here, in the comments in the videos after the fact. So check out the Fantasy Six Pack YouTube page for all that. Subscribe, like the videos, comment. And next time we speak, it'll be, actually during the NFL draft. I guess I'll plug a few things. Going for 2 live streams this week. I think all 3 of us will be contributing on all 3 days. Maybe not all 3 of us on all 3 days, but throughout the 3 days, we'll get contributions, I think, from all 3 of us here. I'm hosting a segment with Rahul on Saturday. I guess really Saturday morning for you, Rahul, but Saturday at noon,
fresh and early.
Right when the third round or day 3 starts, round 4 will kick off at 12 noon. So we'll go on. Rahul and I will do about 2 hours. I'll be doing about 4 hours that day, but Rahul will join me for the first couple, so that's going to be great. And yeah, Jamie, you'll be contributing throughout the evenings. I think Friday, Thursday evening, different shows, people hosting. So yeah, it'll be great weekend. I'm certainly looking forward to it. This will be super fun. This is a great way to already start the draft week. So thank you guys.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited.
I mean, that's a wrap. We broke down our top tight ends, right?
We did that today.
That was a while ago, but yes, that was like an hour and a half ago. But hey, again, we clearly had so much to talk about.
Yeah, we broke down a whole actual rookie draft, before the NFL draft. Like this is great, man. I love talking to you guys. So I want to say judgment has been passed. Targets been scanned. The future of fantasy football is clear.
Take Tyler Shuck at 101.
And I'll be back with more takes, more intel, more sleepers, more picks straight from the grid.
Well, we'll all be back next week on the Dynasty Six Pack. Thank you, everyone.